I'm America first. I live in America. This is my number one priority. I'm raising my kids here. I'm from Iran, I'm Armenian, and I'm Assyrian. But if you tell me what country matters the most, America matters the most.
Yes, recently Bet David went on this podcast and called out Ben Shapiro and respond to what is going on between him and Candace Owens. It is important. I show you this.
And I've had Jordan Peterson on. I've had him on 4 or 5 times, many times. Every time you're with Jordan Peterson, you kind of sit there. He's the easiest guy to interview.
Yeah.
He's 4 questions in 2 hours.
Yep.
That's Jordan. You ask, let her rip, right? He's like that. Sailors, like, there's a handful of people that are like that, right? Some people are like 60-second answers, 20-second answers, 40-second answers. He just goes. When all of a sudden you started hearing about, hey, you know, Christ is king, you know, Ben Shapiro in the small setting said what he said about, you know, what she said is not a travesty, but disgrace or something. He used some words like that about Candace in a smaller setting. Now, did he know it's being recorded? I don't know, but you're Ben Shapiro. Yeah, just anybody. At any time you're speaking, you have to know someone's recording you, right? Sometimes we forget, everybody does. But you just have to know you're being recorded.
Yes, the truth is, you cannot say he didn't know he was recorded. He knew exactly that cameras are on him. So speaking like that, it was to trigger her, to respond so they can fire her.
We can talk about anything, but you can't question that as one of your talent. Yeah, very obvious. You can't touch the Jewish community, you can't talk about it. And that cost the person the job. Great. That's when I made the comments when I said the Daily Jewish Wire or the Daily Israeli Wire. I don't know if that's what you're asking about. I publicly said that multiple times. I'm not, apologizing or changing my position. That's my position, what I said. That's where we know what Ben's ultimate is, okay? To me, I'm America first. I live in America. This is my number one priority. I'm raising my kids here. I'm from Iran, I'm Armenian, and I'm Assyrian. But if you tell me what country matters the most, America matters the most.
Yes, there is something I notice. People that are born in America, the way they appreciate the country or push the country forward is actually even different from people that were not born there. This man, I'm not sure he was born in America, but when he speaks, you can clearly see his stand when he partake to the country. That should clearly send a message to you to understand where he is coming from.
His argument is there's a couple of pieces to it. Number one, he says that Israel is not something he used to talk about a lot until it happened. And I think he sees Israel as an outpost of Western civilization in the Middle East, which I think is a reasonable point. And in terms of the Candace stuff, we didn't talk about that specifically with him. We talked about it with Andrew Clavin. But what Andrew said is that, and what I think is fair to say is this: if you one of the things we talked about with him is if you have a company in which there's an ideological viewpoint, which they have, right? They're a conservative media organization. So, if Matt Walsh was to come out as pro-trans, they would fire Matt Walsh, is the point, right?
You're comparing Candace Owens saying Christ is king?
He is comparing, not me. But also, the words themselves are...
No, you said.
I said that's what he said.
He said trans? They used the word specific
we
trans?
talked about this, I think.
But are you... No, this is very important.
Yeah.
It's very technical what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
So did he use the analogy?
No, I brought that up.
That's what I'm saying. If you're saying, so I want to isolate that with you,
okay,
not him,
fine.
because that's you. Well,
okay.
Go ahead, make your point.
So if the argument is they have a company ideology, they're a conservative organization.
Sure.
That's what Clayton was talking about. So if one of their presenters, one of their hosts came out and said, I'm pro-trans or I'm pro-abortion or whatever, that person wouldn't continue to work.
Yes, at first, when I used to watch this man, I used to believe he's a businessman and whatever thing he used to say, I would not take it serious. But when I watch him over and over and this situation came in, it clearly put him on a stand. I see him different now. As for Ben Shapiro, a lot of people are criticizing him like he is using America to work money. When he realized that this situation came up, Oh, it actually exposes his mind toward America. That is how I see it. And that is how a lot of people, observe him. People decided to unfollow him simply because of his stance. Like, he is not really for America, he is for the other side. I want you to know what you think. Partaking to this, spew out your opinion on the comment sections, and
I don't remember the exact wording that Andrew used. We have an episode coming out about that before this one,
Okay.
so people can go and watch what he said. But it was something along the lines of, I'm not saying she's deeply anti-Semitic in her heart, but some of the things that she was saying either encourage people to be that way or something along those lines, right? So in other words, I think, from the Daily Wire's perspective, this is a misalignment with the core values of their organization, right? In the same way that being pro-trans or pro-abortion might be. That's their argument.
That's your opinion, or you're not, because you said
That
I
is
think.
my recollection of the
Okay,
conversation
got
we
it.
had with Andrew.
Because when I say I think, that's kind of my opinion. So then I can rebuttal to
Yeah.
your opinion on what you're saying instead of his. But yeah, I mean, listen, to be fair to Ben came out and said, we're a publisher. We're not a platform.
Right.
He's 100% right.
Yeah.
Of course you're a publisher. He said, we don't have to keep people here if we don't want to. Totally get it. But that position isn't necessarily an anti-conservative position. One would never say Candace is not conservative.
Yeah.
Candace is a conservative.
Yeah.
One would never say Candace is anti-freedom of speech, low taxes, small government. Candace is all conservative. No, and I believe right now, the last 4 years, it's been a kind of little bit of a weird climate.
Patrick, may I interrupt? I just thought of something else that may be helpful
Go
here
for
as
it.
well, right? I think part of it is also there are people at the Daily Wire like Matt Walsh, who we just mentioned, who is anti the United States giving support to anybody, including Israel, including Ukraine, including everybody, who has no problem remaining at the Daily Wire. So I think the issue is the perception of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, sure. No,
Right?
that's a fair point.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you did. So that's a fair point you're making with the position he's in. I think he does a great job, by the way. I think he's got his own unique way of communicating.
yes, I believe as a consecutive, you should be able to really resist and stand up for difficult conversations, even if you disagree with some people. When I look deep into the situation of the Daily Wire, even till today, I cannot figure out what is really the big problem here. Candace Owens' stance on things cannot change. Even watching her news show, she still maintains the same points over and over. Nothing is changing. So you will see exactly what is going on. She had an interview recently. A question came up pertaining to this issue of gag order because news circulated on social media like they have placed her on gag order, like she should not be able to speak up on things. She still was unable to respond to this question, telling me that the gag order issue is real. I don't get the point. She said she does not want to get into trouble.
Of the show, Glenn Greenwald reported, we can put this up there on the screen. He had reported previously that you'd been secretly hit with a gag order. And we wanted to just hear from you in your own words, to the best that you're able, about what happened here in the departure from the Daily Wire.
You know, in my own words, I can't really say much at the moment. Unfortunately, I obviously have been paying attention to everything that has been said publicly, and there may be an opportunity for me, hopefully in the near future, to make a statement of some sort. But I do also want to respect the process, the judicial process, and not do anything that would get me into trouble.